he's supposed to drop the mic. What else can you say? I mean, what else can you say? See, maybe you would have to understand from where I came from for this to make sense to you. Right? Maybe that's what would have to happen. Like, maybe you came here and you like, oh, my cousin told me to come check this dude out, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, music is cool. No, bro. No, sis. Let me tell you what you done embarked yourself upon here. Let me tell you what you done stepped inside of. You done walked inside of a movement. And this movement, it don't revolve around me, it revolves around somebody far greater than me. Now I know you tripping out because we look like you, we dress like you, act crooked, got on the latest shoes or whatnot. We move into the music like you would expect us to be moving. But you still like, but it's funny because when they say Jesus, everybody cheers. Well, let me tell you what you stepped inside of. See, we are you. We're you. We're just like you. We ain't no better than you. We don't have it more together than you. You might do things better than we do. However, there's one thing that separates us, and that's the grace of God. Now, we're not arrogant about this. We don't think because of that we're superior. We just are grateful. We are grateful that while we was in the middle of our mess, while we were at our lowest, while we was trying to figure out what in the world is my purpose, what am I living for? Is this it? Money and drugs and sex or just selfishness? Is this all I'm living for? At that lowest moment, God reached down and said, "No, you were made for more than that. We were made for more than that. We were made in His image. We are Ephesians 2:10, God's workmanship created for the things that He's pre-planned. Like we were made for more than just making money and serving ourselves. We were made to pour ourselves out for a great and majestic God. And when we come to the end of ourselves, when we're so self-seeking and we finally come to the end of ourselves, we're like, man, what is the point? That's when the magic, not the magic, the miracles can happen right there. When you can come to the end of yourself and say, man, what else is there? See, me, I remember being young and stupid and just doing whatever I wanted to do. And I remember being at the end of my rope. I remember being like, man, I'm out here doing this crazy stuff, but I really feel empty inside. I remember that. And I remember walking into this little church because I thought I was like, you know, this is what a grown person should do. I should go to church and try to see what can happen, you know what I mean? I didn't grow up in church, so I was, you know, it was a big step for me. I stepped inside this little church, and you know how some of these pastors do, man. They look at you, and they're like, oh, a new person. All the new people, please stand up so we can reach you. Pastors, please stop embarrassing us like that. Come holler at us after service or something, man. Anyway, it worked out for me. I stood up. I was about 6'3", 120 pounds, soaking wet at the time. And this old lady, she just honked on me, one of the mothers. I was just, She walked over to me after service. She said, young man, is you saved? Now I told you I didn't grow up in church, so I didn't know what this woman was talking about. I was like, am I saved? Saved? Is a monster after me? What's happening? Saved? And so, you know, I was trying to wrap my brain. I was thinking, I'm like, what is this woman talking about? You know, man, she just messing with me because I stood up in the middle of everybody. I stood out like a cheeseburger at Chick-fil-A, so she was But the question bothered me, and it stayed in my brain, and I kept racking my brain, and I kept racking my brain, and I remember, man, as I got older, a couple years down the line, I went into this Bible study, and they walked me through a few scriptures in the Bible, and we always say Romans 1:16, 1:16, with my 1:16 unashamed. We always chant 1:16 because that's Romans 1:16, and that's 1:16. That's what we're about. You know, I'm not ashamed of the gospel. It's the power of God for salvation for everyone who believes, right? So it's funny because I usually will write that when I sign autographs, but one time I messed up and wrote Romans 1:18, and I was like, what did I write for this little boy? Let me go read this further. I read it, and it said, the wrath of God abides on all unrighteousness. Little boy, wherever you are, if you're scared, man, I'm sorry. But what's funny, though, is that verse was special to me, too, because, like I said, I went to this little Bible study, and it showed me Romans 1:18, the wrath of God abides on all unrighteousness. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, that's heavy. But then we flipped over to Romans chapter 2, and in 2:5 and in 2:8, it talked about the same thing, that, you know, God's wrath or his anger will be poured out on all unrighteousness and those who suppress truth. I was like, suppress truth? Yeah, suppress truth. It's kind of like if you're 3 weeks pregnant, but you're like, I ain't pregnant, whatever. She's like, no mama, in about a few months, you ain't gonna be able to say that no more. So it's like suppressing truth, saying, nah, man, ain't no God, man, whatever, man, I don't know how the clouds got here, or the trees, and I'm like that, but ain't no God. Right? Well, his anger is abiding on those who suppress truth. And then I'm like sitting here like, yo, man, this is crazy. These people who suppress the truth and the righteous don't get it. I was like, man, who are these folks, man? And we flipped over to Romans chapter 3, and it said, there are none righteous, not even one. And I was like, oh, snap, you're talking about me. I'm in trouble. And so you go back to Romans 1:17, and in 1:17 it says, the righteousness of God is revealed through faith. Now, if I'm talking Spanish to you right now, let me try to make it real easy for you, okay? God is going to have to deal with unrighteousness. Unrighteousness is basically anything unlike him, sin, unholiness, anything that doesn't agree with him and his standards. It's being not like him. So he's going to have to deal with that. We're rebellious people. We've turned to do things our way. We said, man, God, we don't care about your way. We're going to do it our way. And he got to deal with that. And now we can look for righteousness. You can look under a rock. You can make a lot of money. You can stop cussing for a week. It's not going to save you. Right? I know some Christians that will cuss you out, but they're still going to heaven. So, I keep it real. I just keep it real. At the end of the day, you can't earn righteousness. There's nothing you can do to attain it or earn it. So I was like, well, yo, man, what do I got to do? How many Bible studies I got to go to get righteousness? Where did I get this righteousness card from? Well, like I said, in Romans 1:17, the righteousness of God is revealed from faith. It's not about us doing the right things that make us right with God. It's about us trusting in the right one. And that right one is Jesus Christ himself. Now the dope thing about Jesus is this. Most people just talk about his death on the cross. But he also lived perfectly. He lived righteous. So he has the righteousness in his bank account to give to us all. He says, hey, yo, God requires righteousness. You ain't got none? No, I ain't got none. No worries. I do. Been living righteous my whole life. I got to pay for it. Tell you what, you turn away from trying to do this yourself and turn to me, my death and my resurrection, and you are adopted in the family of God. Bill paid, debt paid. I digress. That's why we in here jumping and shouting tonight. Some of us came for good hip-hop music. Some of us came because we've been transformed and changed, and we can resonate and identify with this music. And at the end of the day, man, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to share this with y'all, man. It's a blessing, right? We in this together, one big family, right? So I'll tell you what, man. I feel like celebrating a little bit.
Say thank you, Jesus!
You know, can we do some celebratory music or some stuff like that? Are y'all cool with that?